Long before the modern political landscape took shape, two powerful forces began to emerge from the early foundations of American democracy. The story of the Democratic Party and the Republican Party is not just a tale of politics. It is the story of America itself, shaped by war, ideology, race, economics, and the constant struggle to define what this nation truly stands for. The Democratic Party holds the title of the oldest active political party in the world, tracing its roots back to the 1820s. It was founded by Andrew Jackson and Martin Van Buren, built on the principles of states' rights, limited federal government, and the political power of the common working man. Jackson's fiery populism drew millions of ordinary citizens into the political process, and the party quickly became a dominant force in American life. The symbol of the Democratic Party, the donkey, actually originated as an insult during Jackson's 1828 presidential campaign, when opponents called him a jackass. Rather than shying away from it, Jackson embraced the image, turning a mockery into a symbol of stubbornness and strength. The Republican Party came into existence much later, formally organized in 1854, born directly out of one of the most explosive moral debates in American history, the question of slavery. A coalition of former Whigs, Free Soilers, and anti-slavery Democrats came together with a singular mission: to stop the expansion of slavery into new United States territories. The party quickly gained momentum, and just 6 years after its founding, Abraham Lincoln became the first Republican president in 1860. Lincoln's election was so alarming to Southern slaveholding states that it triggered the secession of 11 states and ignited the Civil War. The Republican Party, often called the Grand Old Party or the Party of Lincoln, positioned itself as the party of freedom and national unity during this defining era. The elephant, the Republican Party's iconic symbol, was popularized by political cartoonist Thomas Nast in 1874, representing strength and dignity. After the Civil War, the Reconstruction era brought dramatic shifts in both parties. Republicans pushed for the rights of formerly enslaved Black Americans, supporting the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments, which abolished slavery, granted citizenship, and secured voting rights. Meanwhile, the Democratic Party, particularly in the South, became associated with resistance to Reconstruction and the preservation of white supremacy through systems like the Jim Crow laws. This period cemented a deep regional divide. The South was solidly Democratic, while the North leaned Republican. However, history rarely stays still, and the 20th century would bring one of the most dramatic political realignments the country had ever seen. The Great Depression of the 1930s fundamentally reshaped American politics. Democratic President Franklin Delano Roosevelt introduced the New Deal, a sweeping series of government programs designed to provide relief, recovery, and reform. This expanded the role of the federal government significantly and attracted working-class voters, minorities, and urban populations to the Democratic Party. The Republicans, meanwhile, became increasingly associated with fiscal conservatism, free markets, and limited government intervention. Then came the 1960s, perhaps the most transformative decade in modern American political history. Democratic President Lyndon Baines Johnson signed the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965, landmark legislation that dismantled legal segregation. This caused a massive political realignment. Southern white conservatives began migrating to the Republican Party, while Black Americans and progressive voters consolidated within the Democratic Party. Richard Nixon's Southern strategy in 1968 deliberately appealed to racial anxieties among white Southern voters, accelerating this shift and fundamentally redrawing the political map of America. Let me know in the comments section. Which party are you? Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to hit the subscribe button.